Someone woke up with an attitude.
Cancel culture is cancelled.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser.
Why do you think you haven't been cancelled yet? I don't know. What's being cancelled?
Wake up.
Welcome back to the Woke What Cancel This podcast. Hard to believe, wow, we're on episode 9 already. I love talking about issues that affect us every single day here in the U.S., and these issues actually extend to everybody else around the globe, because let's face it, we have hot button issues, we have trigger points that just really get our goat every single day. I don't know about you, but I turn on the news and I kind of consider the news as my show prep. All right, what are we going to talk about today? Well, let's talk about this, because you know what? This is going to piss everybody off. And that's just what we do. We live in the USA. It's freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom. That is the operative word. Freedom. We exercise our rights every single day. We should not be canceled for offering up our opinion. If you're butthurt by something we say, tough crap, man. Come on, grow a set and let's get on with it, all right? All right, episode 9, we are talking today about race wars. Are we going back in time to the days of when people were segregated? When we take one race, we put them in this pile, we put another race in that pile, and we say, you know what? Y'all are inferior. Nobody has the right to judge us because we think we are the king shit. We think we're the ones that are going to reign. We are going to control you. You know what I got to say about that? Well, all right, I'm not going to really get into that right now. But basically, look at what's going on with the government. The government is figuring out ways to control us. And what they're doing is they're continuing their divide of all of us here in the United States. They are pitting us against one another. I blame two people, the government and the media, for doing this, because the media is meant to be unbiased. All right, if you turn on Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC, they should not be saying what's going on in the world today based on their opinions. It should be based on facts. It should be based on the evidence, not what any one person believes. If you sit there and you broadcast mainstream media to anybody, the one goal of mainstream media is to serve the public. I worked in radio for over 30 years. That's our motto. We are here to serve you. But the media now does not do that. We pick, we choose, we say, oh, all right, we're going to tell them this today. If they believe it, great. If not, well, maybe we'll insert a little white lie. So when I talk about race wars, let's face it, this has been going on for a long time. We're talking hundreds of years. Back to the days when a white man sailed across the sea, stepped foot in the U.S., kicked the Native Americans off their land, and said, you know what? Y'all are an inferior species. So what? So maybe you're not that smart or whatever. We're still going to take your land from you. The bad part about that is we're not too far from that right now. We're still doing the same thing throughout the world. We are looking at people as inferior. And better yet, I should go back and say we're looking at races as inferior because we're still standing over one another. Instead of everybody being on one equal plane, we still believe that we reign supreme. But the bad part about that is it's happening on both sides of the aisle. And basically, I'm gonna come right out and say it. It's going on between blacks, whites, Asians. We're picking apart immigrants that want to come into this country. Why are we doing that? Well, you know what? If they weren't doing it illegally, I think I'd be totally okay with that. But that is a whole nother show. So basically, when you think about race, what have we learned? Have we learned anything from what happened in the 50s and 60s when we would look at black people and say, you know what? We don't like you. We don't want you using our water fountains. We don't want you coming into our public schools. We don't want you riding with us on the bus. And if you do, we want you to sit in the way back into the colored only section. How sad is that? How sad is it? Are we ever going to learn from our mistakes? As humans, we should, but the bad part about it is we're not going to. It's in our nature to fail. The bad part about this is that nobody sees the issue, and if they do, it's only a handful of people. How hard would it be to actually have a neutral ground? We talk about this in politics all the time, especially when you look at what's going on with the debt limit and all of that crap. You've got one side, we need to raise it. We need to spend. You got the other side that's saying, whoa, wait a minute, we're going to pull the reins back a little bit. Y'all don't need to be spending that much money. Why can't we cut and save a little bit here and there? Well, the same thing is going on with race. You've got some white people, and I'm going to say some, because not all of us fall into the same boat. I'm not a member of the KKK. I'm white. I don't feel that I'm racist. I'm opinionated. Some people may think what I say is racist or insensitive, and that's okay. You're allowed to think that way. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I don't see you as a bad person for what you believe in. So what we need to do is we need to actually learn from our mistakes. We need to say, okay, you know what? We don't want to go back to the 50s and 60s with such a racial divide. We don't want to do that again because honestly, we're heading down that road. And I'll explain a little bit later on in the podcast why I think this is happening. Back in the day, you remember the TV show All in the Family? Archie Bunker? And then you got George Jefferson. Classic white and black right there, right? You've got Archie, who is just racist toward black people and Jews and Asians and everything else in between. You've got George Jefferson, who is a successful businessman. He is a little bit racist toward the whites. So, and honestly, I get it. You know, we've been down some rough paths as we've grown throughout the years. You've got black people pissed off at white people because of what happened back in the day. You've got white people pissed off at black people because everybody is crying black power, this, that, and everything else in between. What if we actually did away with all of that? What if we took away labels? What if we took away race? What if we took away racism and we looked at every single person as a human being? Not somebody that's from Mexico or somebody from Ireland or African or anything along that line, but human. Where would be the problem with that? If we actually created everyone into one singular race, wouldn't the world be such a better place? What happens if we could go back and we could actually listen to a comedy show without a disclaimer that says, you know, some of these jokes might be insensitive to this group of people? Why couldn't we go back to comedy the way it was? We can poke fun at everybody, and nobody has an issue over that. Nobody has a problem with us making fun of white people. I can't dance. White men can't jump. Well, maybe some of them can. I know black people have a lot more rhythm than I am ever going to have in my lifetime. So there are good and bad in every single race, in every single color, in every single creed, in every single person. But why can't we just look at everybody as being human? Why do we have to put labels? Why do we have to have one group over another? Do we really have to do that? Because basically, the way racism is going now in the United States is that, and this is my personal opinion, as well as several other people of the white stature, we feel that we're being attacked now. You kind of see how the tables are turned? Take this, for instance. Comedian Chris Rock. He recently got into trouble after posting a meme with a picture of Betty White, you know, the former Golden Girls actress. The first thing people say when a mass shooting is announced, Rock wrote in the caption, the unspoken punchline, Betty White. Now, that was kind of a poor joke, right? Not every person that goes into a school that pulls out a gun and starts shooting people is white. Just like not every crime committed is because of a black person or a gang member. Not every immigrant coming over is a Mexican. So if we keep putting labels on people, we're going to run into an issue. So we kind of need to stop that whole thing. Some white critics actually called Chris Rock a racist, but the comedian's defenders invoked an old argument saying he can't be racist because he's black. While others can debate whether Rock is a racist or not, the reaction to his meme raises a bigger question. Why can't black people be racist? Well, according to author Abram X. Kendi, people of color can't be racist because they don't have enough power. I call bullshit on this. There are people out there right now, black people that are in power that have a hell of a lot of clout. They can do that. Even if you're black, you can be racist. And that's one of the biggest things that seems to be affecting a lot of white people today. We believe that things are happening in the world right now where white people have actually come under attack more than black people. And honestly, you got to look at it a couple of different ways, all right? So look at New York City Marine veteran Daniel Penny. He was arraigned not too long ago in Manhattan criminal court for the death of Jordan Neely. Jordan had 40 arrests and an active assault charge. He was causing problems on the subway. I mean, the guy was a Michael Jackson impersonator and stuff like that. But you talk to 95% of the witnesses on that New York City subway, and they were fearful. Not because he was black, but because he was causing issues. And this is the biggest thing that we're dealing with now. If people are out and about and they don't feel safe, they don't feel comfortable, then yeah, they're going to act upon that. They're going to let it be known. So what happened, Daniel Penny basically come up behind him, put him in a chokehold. Now, a lot of people wonder, all right, well, why didn't anybody step in to help remove him from the chokehold? So Daniel Penny is basically saying, hey, wait a minute, you know what? This didn't have anything to do with race. This had everything to do with me helping people on that subway feel safer. Now, this could go along the lines of like the police when they use excessive force. They're saying, well, he was a Marine. He knows how to use his body as a weapon. So what he did is he subdued him. The death, that was unfortunately something that happened. The bad part about this is if it would have been a black person doing the chokehold and the guy that passed away was a white person, do you think they would have gotten as much press? Do you think there would have been an arraignment or charges brought up? Do you think there would be protest and people blocking the subway if it was a white man that passed away? This is where the racial divide is going. Whenever somebody of color is attacked or something along that line, everybody climbs out into the street. It's mass hysteria, everything else in between. If it was a white person, nobody would even give it the time of day. Or maybe they would just a small amount, but that's about it. We need to stop thinking that just because something happens to a black person, that it's racist. Yeah, there are people out there that do it based on race, but not everybody can be lumped into that category. Nobody. Because we're not all the same way. That's like saying every black person is a criminal. Every Mexican is a member of the drug cartel. It's stupid. Why do we have to continue doing that? And it's not fair. So when you go back, and of course many social users outraged at the fact that nobody intervened in the killing of this gentleman in New York City. So a lot of people were pissed off about the whole different thing. He's facing charges. We know that. He was arraigned. A lot of people coming to his aid because, I mean, look, you got a black district attorney in New York City, in Manhattan, who's been causing a lot of issues with the former President Trump. He's been soft on crime, but you get something like this, bam, he wants the headline, so he is going to put the screws to this Marine veteran. Yeah, so it's a little rough enough when you're looking at all this stuff and you're talking about it and you're thinking about what's going on in the world today. But white people do believe they have replaced black people as the primary victims of racial discrimination in contemporary America. This is according to a new study from researchers at Tufts University School of Arts and Sciences and Harvard Business School. So it's out there. The findings, according to the authors, show that America has not yet achieved the post-racial society that some predicted in the wake of Barack Obama's election. They thought that when Obama was elected, that everything was going to be great. Racial issues were just going to go out the window and everybody was going to be holding hands singing Kumbaya, and that didn't happen. It's pretty sad. But and when you look at both sides of the aisle, both whites and blacks can agree that anti-black racism has decreased over the last 60 years, but we have a long way to go. And that is according to this study. However, whites do believe that anti-white racism have increased and is now a bigger problem than anti-black racism. My wife and I were just talking about this, and I really need to do a show with her because her and I, we were in heated arguments back and forth. And a lot of times we don't share the same viewpoint. I said, all right, picture it this way. I said, let's look at this. Right now, we have an all-black network on TV, okay? Black Lives Matter is out there. You know, they're raising thoughts, raising awareness on everything that's going on. A lot of people believe the group is politically motivated. They want to create a bigger divide. I said, all right, well, let's look at it this way. We've got people that can wear BLM shirts, Black Lives Matter, Black Rules, stuff like that going down the road. What happens if I wanted to wear a White Lives Matter shirt down the road? Probably wouldn't have that issue much here in northern New Hampshire, but if you wear something like that in a place like Manchester, Detroit, something along that lines, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. So why is it? Could one group be proud of their race? Absolutely. But as a white person, why wouldn't I be able to do the same? People would say, oh my God, you shouldn't be proud that you're white. You remember slaves? Yes. I didn't have any control. I wasn't born until 1971. I wasn't a slave owner. Don't put me in the category of other white people just because I'm white. I didn't own a slave. I haven't caused you any problems. But then we look at what everybody is doing with the whole reparations thing. Oh my God, all the black people in California are going to get over $1 million in reparations? They're saying, oh, it's going to be because our relatives were slaves. All right. Who the hell cares? That was years gone by. Let's try to move on. But this is the type of issue that we've been dealing with. We still think one race should be superior than the other. It shouldn't. Nobody should. There should not be one single person that is superior over another. But the thing is that we're never going to get that way. It's never going to happen because you're going to look at all of the people that want to be in power, that want to remain in power, that want to stay in power, and the almighty dollar and the people that have all of that money are going to control the rest of us. But what can we do to actually stop that? What can we do to sit there and say, we've had enough? We can start treating people of every race and color as the human race. Don't divide us anymore. Don't label us. Treat black people the same as white people. Treat white people the same as immigrants. I mean, dear God, they're coming in. We want to give them all this stuff. We got to be able to take care of our own, right? Put everybody on the same playing field. Every single person. Remove the barriers. Get rid of race altogether. Do away with it. Why do we even need it? Why can't we look at every single person on this earth as a human? Why do we have to do that? I don't care where you came from. What I care about is if you're a good person or not. If you're decent, I'm going to love you. And I hope you do the same for me. We need to understand that the way the world is going right now, it will collapse before too much longer. How do we want to go out? Do we want to go out helping one another? Do we want to go out hating one another? Do we want to go out thinking, man, there's something more I could have done? Because what's happening now is we're becoming more, alone because we don't want to deal with other people. Can't we change that? Can we look at another person and say, you know what, I like you? Or, I don't trust you 100%, so I'm going to keep my distance. Why can't we do that without shooting people? Why can't we do that without arguing? Why can't we treat each other with dignity and respect? Because you know what? Just because I'm white doesn't mean I'm a racist. Just because you're black doesn't mean you're a racist. We're not criminals. We should look at each other as important human beings on this earth. We should be able to coexist with one another. But the problem is, it doesn't matter how hard we try. I don't think it's ever going to happen because we're not going to be able to get enough people to actually see this. We're not going to be able to get enough people to look at the problem and say, I have the solution. I'm going to treat you with respect. I'm going to treat you like a human being. I'm not going to treat you like you're black, white, Asian, Mexican, or whatever. I'm not going to treat you like you're a number. I'm going to treat you as a human. Wouldn't it be an awesome world if we could do that? Wouldn't it be an awesome world if we had the heart like animals, that we could love unconditionally without having to worry about what's going to happen? I truly believe that the America that we once knew is a thing of the past. I believe that no matter who we get in the White House, whether it's Trump, DeSantis, or Democrat, RFK, whoever, you have to wonder what their first order of business is going to be. Because honestly, the past couple of presidents that we've had have really spread issues when it comes to race. Barack Obama, the first black president. People honestly thought, you know what, he was going to bridge the racial divide. He didn't do it. Donald Trump come along, and a lot of people thought, all right, maybe we're going to try to start acting like Americans once in a while. He couldn't do it. So the next president that we elect into office has some pretty big shoes to fill, especially as screwed up as the United States is right now. Will he or she be able to bridge the gap? Or will they keep dividing us? Will the media continue to put black people ahead of white people, ahead of Asians, ahead of Mexicans? Will they still feed us crap each and every day? Will we not do the research before we come to a conclusion? Let's face it, we trust our instinct a lot. But is our instinct always right? Do we look at people in the same light as we look at others? Maybe we should. Would it be so hard to actually look at somebody and say, you know what? I like you. I want you to come over. I want you to see the family. I want to spend time with you. I really think those days are past. But we need to start being Americans. We need to quit the labeling. We need to quit fighting. We need to say, we're going to be demanding this. We're going to be demanding that. Don't. Just stop. It's depressing. It's miserable. Relax. We have become so uptight with everything going on in the world right now. And you know what? Hey, let's just learn to live with one another. We can do it. I honestly believe we can. So, basically look at it this way. In 1860, if you had talked about eliminating chattel slavery, people would have said that was completely impossible. Slaveholders are extremely powerful. They're the richest people in the world. In 1790, if we're having a conversation about Haiti becoming a free black republic by 1804, people would have said, that's impossible. Haiti? It's the most profitable colony in the world. There's no way the French or any European power would allow Haiti to be lost to freedom. And if someone said that someone named Barack Hussein Obama would become president of the United States, people would have said, that's impossible. So, is it so impossible to believe that we could be equal, every single one of us? Yeah, it is possible. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Do you believe it? Well, thanks once again for joining in Woke What Cancel This. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you have, please spread the word. You can find us up on YouTube, Woke What Cancel This, and also become part of our Facebook community, Woke What Cancel This, on Facebook as well. Remember, make your own opinion. Do the research. Everything we've talked about has been based on fact as well as my own personal opinion. Don't cancel us. You can't cancel free speech and freedom of expression. I'm Al Lockwood. Till next time.